full moon meditation in the new year, in which we will be meditating in the sign of Capricorn. As we've been trying to do at the end of the evening, we are not going to make any announcements. We'd like to just close quietly. So I'd like to mention, and it will also be on the screen, that the new moon meditation is coming up this Friday, January 16th. And the theme will be materialism and the transmutation of desire. And then the Aquarius full moon will be coming up on February 1st, which will be on a Sunday at 4 p.m. instead of the usual 3 p.m. So this time that we're meditating right now is within the 12-hour period before we reach the greatest impact of these energies, which will be tomorrow morning at 5:04 a.m. So if you are interested in being up early, you have that opportunity to meditate again at that time. But before we meditate tonight, let's first prepare by contemplating upon and aligning with some of the key symbols and ideas that Capricorn represents within the mind of humanity. These are ancient and universal symbols through which we can deepen our understanding and intuition about their significance within the evolution of humanity. It's interesting that at this time of year, when a new cycle begins with our calendars starting in January, we are also within the Capricornian energies which are impacting humanity and bringing with them the urge to initiate and evolve. Many feel at this time the need to make resolutions that express this intention to improve themselves in some way, and by this increase their power to serve in their work and in their relationships and with their physical health and well-being. This may be an example of how humanity is instinctively responding to the stimulation of Capricorn's energies, seeking to motivate toward evolution. At this time, we also see an increase in applications in the arcane school, and this could be the group's response to these evolutionary urges as well. Capricorn is described in the teachings as a mysterious and difficult to understand sign, so it may help if we view it from the perspective of our responsiveness to this hierarchical energy, which seeks to stimulate the group to evolve in its ability to serve humanity and the lower kingdoms. As students of the ageless wisdom, we study the stages of the spiritual path and the initiations in consciousness which they represent, as this is helpful for us to better understand our role in this evolutionary scheme for humanity, which is our goal in our group service. In the Aquarian age, disciples are being urged to integrate the Aquarian ideals of goodwill, group consciousness, and right human relations, and reflect that understanding back into the human kingdom. This is important, for as a center in the greater spiritual hierarchy of which we are a part, as the new group of world servers, we work together at many levels of consciousness. And it is through this diversity that we're able to step down the needed spiritual energies so they can be radiated out at all levels of the human and lower kingdoms. To begin, let us affirm this through the affirmation of the disciple. And as we do so, let us think of these different levels of consciousness as a roadmap for how aspirants, disciples, and initiates are working together as part of a planned and hierarchical effort. Saying together, I am a point of light within a greater light. I am a strand of loving energy within the stream of love divine. I am a point of sacrificial fire, focused within the fiery will of God, and thus I stand. I am a way by which men may achieve. I am a source of strength, enabling them to stand. I am a beam of light, shining upon their way, and thus I stand. And standing thus, revolve, and tread this way, the ways of men, and know the ways of God, and thus I stand. This is also a time of year when many religions and traditions recognize a return of the light. And it is through this universal symbol of light that humanity is reminded of its need to renew our intention to grow in relationship to that light. As we do this, we help the spiritual hierarchy to radiate that light through us out into the world to penetrate all other kingdoms and lives. Capricorn is an earth sign which represents the materiality of earthly life. And as the light returns, it urges us to renew our efforts to transcend this dense material level of existence through our self-initiating activities as disciples that help to liberate us from its thrall. The theme of initiation is important in understanding Capricorn because the symbols used by hierarchy to represent its power of renewal are expressed through the cycles of life and death. Behind these symbols are the triadic energies of the Father, representing our relationship to the divine and what the disciple must do in order to integrate and master themselves within this earthly plane. The symbols of the ram, the crocodile, and the unicorn are associated with Capricorn, but each has a different meaning depending on the level of consciousness in which they are viewed. Each also represents a certain stage on the path and the initiatory energies of Capricorn, which can be used to achieve its level of increased power to serve. When Christ last appeared, he demonstrated these initiatory stages through the events of his life as symbols for his disciples and for humanity to later follow. These symbols represent the consciousness needed at each stage of the path so our part within the body of Christ can be fulfilled. Each level of hierarchy represents one aspect of his body of manifestation, which involves different levels of consciousness the group can serve humanity through. At this time in human evolution, healing of cleavages in consciousness are needed to restore the unity and right relationship that was lost when a separation occurred at the fall. It is through healing and restoring of our relationship with hierarchy and with Christ that we will do our part in restoring the plan and redeeming humanity. At the beginning of the Piscean age, Christ demonstrated these stages of initiation to model what humanity was capable of achieving. The first initiation was demonstrated as he began his teaching in the temple when he was heard saying, "Now I am about my Father's business." The second initiation was demonstrated at the River Jordan when he was baptized by John, modeling the purity needed of our astral natures to better express harmlessness to all beings. He demonstrated the third initiation in the Garden of Gethsemane and later on the mountaintop, when he went forward alone after his disciples betrayed him. The fourth initiation was finally demonstrated with the crucifixion at Golgotha, foreshadowing the path his disciples would later take to follow his example of sacrificial service to humanity. All 12 disciples were martyred, except for John, who was left to record Christ's work and prepare to climb the mountain of initiation that others would also later follow. In Capricorn, the symbol for the bodies of manifestation in need of renewal is the three-headed dog, Cerberus. He represents the three aspects of the personality that must be purified and mastered by the disciple, so Christ's consciousness can manifest through him. Christ, as the symbol for the soul, cannot fulfill his mission on earth unless he has a personality through which to express it and bring his light to the world. He must have a vehicle to do this work of redemption. And the first three initiations represent the first three stages of evolution for humanity as we seek to master the matter of our personality vehicles. The physical etheric body is the densest and represents the lower mind and intelligence aspect expressed by the group through the men and women of goodwill. It is the outward aspect of Christ's light and love, seeking to reach humanity. The astral or emotional nature represents the love of Christ, expressed through the new group of world servers as discipleship consciousness, seeking to demonstrate harmlessness and right relationship. The mind or mental body is where the will of God is known and expresses through the initiate consciousness, which seeks to selflessly serve all kingdoms of earth. All three hierarchical groups are needed to create a body for Christ's return, so he can restore the plan on earth. Because humanity works slowly in terms of its evolution, Christ's loving and benevolent nature demonstrated these stages long before they were destined to be realized within the human kingdom. As the forerunner for the fourth initiation in the Piscean age, Christ and his immediate disciples foreshadowed the goals of sacrifice and group service for all aspirants that would be achieved in the Aquarian age. The new group of world servers is foreshadowing the goal for humanity in the coming age of Capricorn as a united group effort, poised to become the world initiate in the Aquarian age as the energies of Capricorn make their way into the temple of humanity. These relationships of which humanity is composed will externalize hierarchy as more disciples take initiation and add their light, become the vehicles for Christ's reappearance. The keynote for Capricorn is "Lost am I in light supernal, yet on that light I turn my back." This is the voice of the initiate, viewing the whole of manifested life from the perspective of unity and oneness, as he turns back to project his light and life onto the mental, astral, and etheric planes where the experience of separation still rules. The initiate, in an act of selflessness and sacrifice, transmits this light to reach the world and redeem it. There is no thought of self, only a world crying out in pain which must be saved. This is the message given at the beginning of the full moon meditation, when as bodhisattvas we turn back, and in turning back save. It is also through this light, or the seven chakras of the spiritual kingdom, that the departments of hierarchical work step down this light to reach all the kingdoms of earth. As we sound the great invocation tonight, let us also remember that this is instructing us that the light must descend on earth, so that purpose will guide the little wills of men, and Christ can return to seal the door where evil dwells. This is the goal of the Aquarian age, to purify the personality vehicles and prepare humanity for initiation in Capricorn. As the symbol for Aquarius shows us, we must pour forth for thirsty men all that we know and have, so these healing waters can be used to wash away the glamours and illusions clouding the hearts and minds of humanity which are obscuring the light. Now, let us meditate together to strengthen our intention to be of greater service to humanity by utilizing the initiating energies of Capricorn to purify and prepare our vehicles to reflect Christ's love and light in the world. We are stronger together than we are alone, and it is through this tide of lighted and initiating energy that we can realize and potentize our group work and service. This also marks the Festival of the new group of world servers year, and so it is fitting that we recognize our part within this group and do all we can to prepare men's minds and hearts for that event of the Christ's reappearance, and recognize that we have no other life intention. Okay. So now let us meditate. The keynote of the full moon approach to hierarchy. He who faces the light and stands within its radiance is blinded to the issues of the world of men. He passes on the lighted way to the great center of absorption. But he who feels the urge to pass that way, yet loves his brother on the darkened path, revolves upon the pedestal of light and turns the other way. He faces towards that light, and then the 7 points of light within himself transmit the outward streaming light, and lo, the faces of those upon the darkened way receives that light. For them, the way is not so dark. Behind the warriors, twixt the light and dark, blazes the light of hierarchy. Meditation, letting in the light. Group fusion. We affirm the fact of group fusion and integration within the heart center of the group of world servers, mediating between hierarchy and humanity. I am one with my group brothers, and all that I have is theirs. May the love which is in my soul pour forth to them. May the strength which is in me lift and aid them. May the thoughts which my soul creates reach and encourage them. Alignment. We project a line of lighted energy towards the spiritual hierarchy of the planet, the planetary heart, the great ashram of Sanat Kumara, and towards the Christ at the heart of hierarchy. Extend the line of light towards Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known. Higher interlude. Hold the contemplative mind open to the extraplanetary energies streaming into Shambhala and radiated through hierarchy. Using the creative imagination, endeavor to see the three planetary centers, Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity, gradually coming into alignment and interplay. Meditation. Reflect on the seed thought for Capricorn. Lost am I in light supernal, yet on that light I turn my back. Precipitation. Using the creative imagination, visualize the energies of light, love, and will to good pouring throughout the planet, and becoming anchored on Earth in prepared physical plane centers through which the plan can manifest. Use the sixfold progression of divine love as the sequence of energy precipitation. Shambhala, hierarchy, Christ, the group of world servers, men and women of goodwill everywhere in the world, and physical plane centers of distribution. Lower interlude. Refocus the consciousness as a group within the periphery of the great ashram. Together sound the affirmation. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Visualize the downpouring spiritual inflow released from Shambhala through the hierarchy and streaming into humanity through the prepared channel. Consider how these inpouring energies are establishing the pathway of light for the coming world teacher, the Christ. Distribution. As the great invocation is sounded, Visualize the outpouring of light and love and power from the spiritual hierarchy through the 5 planetary inlets: London, Darjeeling, New York, Geneva, Tokyo, irradiating the consciousness of the whole human race. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. Let Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Oh, oh, oh. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.